Hello everyone, Mipa here, trying to make your Monday a little better and maybe even something to look forward to. Today is another speed paint of a new character that I have made named Emily from the story that I would like to explain that I want to introduce onto the channel called Shadows and Mirrors. If you saw my video of the beginning today, I briefly mentioned it. Yes, I briefly mentioned it. And if you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. And the point is here, I want to give a summary about who the characters are in this and a type of look over on it like you would see on the back of a book, or sometimes it's the inside cover of like a hardcover book. So I'd like to talk about that and just let you guys know a little bit about what it's going to be and what I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time on, as I would love to animate this. If I keep taking deep breaths, I'm sorry, I'm not used to talking this much. I'll go with that. I'm not used to talking this much. So this is just a lot of talking for me, but I love talking about the characters, so I'm quite happy about making this video. And I loved drawing this picture too, because I've been wanting to draw her so badly, but I've been working on the other behind the scenes animation. But that's not the point. Let me start actually talking about the characters. So I'll start off with the main character, Emily. Her close friends and her parents call her M. And by close friends, I mean her one friend, Olivia, who I will get to. But Emily is very introvert, to put it the short way. She doesn't really talk much. She doesn't really express. She seems very low energy, like not necessarily tired, but just she doesn't bring much energy to wherever she's at. She's pretty mellow, she can be very sarcastic, and she will give you the honest truth. I have a picture here from when I was planning her colors and her main outfits. I love her expression too much on the left. I don't know why I enjoy it so much. I think it was just because it was exactly what I wanted it to look like. And I just love it so much. And then on the right is like someone told her like, come on, be more cheerful, be more happy. And she's like, here, jazz hands, you happy now? Because like she doesn't express much, like I said. So people told her like, hey, you should be a little more cheerful, smile, so on. So she always wears this red hoodie. She loves this red hoodie. And in this speed paint here, once I get to it, I do add the red hoodie sitting next to her. In the animation, in the series, she's not going to always be wearing the orange shirt because, you know, gotta be realistic. But whenever I draw her in just a picture or anything like that, and it's not part of the animating, she will most likely be wearing her orange shirt if it's not directly in the storyline. But her shirt color will change because, you know, we don't wear the same shirt every day in real life. And I want to actually try and make this series not necessarily realistic, but a lot like normal life. I've never actually tried doing that before, and I'm quite excited to give it a go. Because like I said, I've never really done that before, so that's another exciting thing to me. I really want to make all the spaces she goes to look very lived in, very used, not like it's at some store where you're buying furniture from it. No, I want it to make it look lived in and Like, people have been there. And I'm very excited to give that a go. So, her parents, they're not bad parents. They are good parents. But they do give her a lot of space. So they don't know her the best because they are often busy. But they do care about her a lot. They give her all the love. But Emily is a person who wants her own space. So they give her a lot of that space that she wants, which does cause them to be a little disconnected. But obviously Emily is completely okay with it, and by the end of the story, I believe it shouldn't be as much like that. Her parents will connect with her a little bit more. And even though Emily loves her own space, Olivia wants to hang out with her, even though this is a surprise to Emily because she doesn't really see why people want to hang out with her, because the only person that does is Olivia. Talking about Olivia, she is very energetic, she is very friendly, very social, essentially the opposite of Emily. But they get along very well, and Olivia cares so much about Emily. She wants Emily to just have the best life possible and worries about her sometimes. Olivia often wears a blue sweater. Actually, let me show you the planning picture. Here's Olivia. You can look at her for a minute. She often wears this sweater that Emily gave her for her last birthday, which happened like right before the series starts, because on it there's a dog. I don't know if you can fully tell, but there's a dog and it looks similar to her puppy, Umber, who she is very loyal to and loves with all of her heart. Olivia also has a lot of friends because she's very popular at this school. She's very likable. She's just that kind of person you want to be around, and she makes herself very known, so a lot of people want to hang out with her. And even though she has all of these friends, she still loves hanging out with calm, mellow Emily, and calls her like every night to talk with her because she likes to check up on her, so on and so forth. That's Olivia. I love her. She's adorable. I'm excited to bring her to life. And her parents really aren't going to be brought up much, but her parents essentially just let her do as she pleases. And Olivia's completely fine with that because then she gets to hang out with friends, especially Emily, so on and so forth. So since Olivia cares so much about Emily, she keeps trying to spend her money on Emily. She keeps wanting to buy her stuff. And Emily's like, no, stop spending your money on me, because she doesn't want people to spend money on her. She's not that kind of person. She doesn't really want that. So she always tells Olivia, don't buy stuff for me, keep your money. And it's not like Emily's poor, and it's not like Olivia's extremely rich. They're both pretty much at what I would call an average, but Olivia just wants to give Emily like the world. So when Emily's birthday comes up, which is like the beginning of the series, when her birthday comes up, Olivia is on it. She's like, I'm gonna get you a present. And Emily's like, no. But eventually, Olivia does convince Emily to get her a present, with the promise of keeping it under $15. And so when the birthday finally comes, Olivia gives her the present, which turns out to be a necklace, which in the video here, in the Speedpaint, you can see that she is wearing. When I zoom out, you can see that Emily is wearing it. She's holding on to it. That's the necklace that Olivia got for her. And what it is it's like a locket, where usually one would put a picture in it, but this one instead has a mirror in it. And Olivia says it will help Emily see the light within, the light that she sees in her. I know, right? So sweet, so like wholesome, as the people at my school like to say. So she gets worried about Emily. Like I've said, this is probably like the third time I've said it. She gets worried about her. And just because Emily wasn't always as antisocial or unsocial as she is now. So she worries that maybe Emily's feeling down. So she wanted to make sure that Emily sees all the great things about her and believes that this locket will do that, since it's a mirror, so she can see herself. Emily appreciates it and she takes it, and life goes on. But here's the plot twist. This is where the story really begins, because that night Emily starts hearing voices in her head. Well, a voice in her head. She's not completely sure what it is and kind of just assumes it's just that little voice in your head that everyone talks about, you know, the one that keeps you doing good things. So she just kind of assumes it's that, but eventually it seems like more than that. It really feels like someone is talking to her. So she like checks her room, like, is someone in my room? And obviously no one's in her room. But eventually realizes that maybe it's because of some magical properties in this necklace. And as the story goes on, she starts to notice her reflection in mirrors does not look like it used to. She seems to be having less control over herself, and not necessarily in a bad way, it's in quite a good way, as whenever she loses control, she's more cheerful, more expressive. You could say maybe more like Olivia, since Olivia's the opposite of her. And she laughs out loud, just so hard, like she never usually does, and just isn't really acting like herself, is more cheerful, makes more jokes, talks more, and eventually seems to become more of Olivia's group. Olivia, obviously, is very happy about this. She feels that Emily's finally cheering up and feels that maybe her present helped. Little did she know the present truly was the cause of this. Although Emily does not exactly like this sudden change of personality because it's not really her. To find out who it actually is, you'll have to watch the series. But this being taken control of, her reflection not looking correct, it really bothers her. And she tries to get to the bottom of it. And she tries to fix it, she tries to stop it. And it causes her anger against who is doing it. And it frustrates her because she doesn't have control over herself. So to see how she fixes it, to see who it is, to see all of that, you'll have to watch the series, which, remember, I will be animating, so it will take a bit, because animating takes a bit. I'm going to be putting a lot of planning into this as well, so keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure that's what I need to say without giving away too much. Something I would like to point out, this like shading and amazing art skill you're seeing in this speed paint will not be how the animation looks because one, my animating app Flip-a-Clip does not exactly allow that, and two, one episode would take like an eternity to make. So if you want these videos to keep coming out, I can't make it this quality. But I would like to put it in color because I'm not fully sure how this happened, but the world of Shadows and Mirrors is pretty colorful. The people at her school wear quite a bit of color. The walls, her belongings have quite a bit of color in it. And it's just going to be really colorful. And I enjoy that because I love color. And this is going to be full of color. And I'm excited for that. So hopefully this will be a colored animation. It's not going to be black and white, meaning it could take a little longer than it would have in black and white, but will be of better quality. And I want to bring quality to this because I truly want to bring this story to life. Also, as I mentioned in the other video I posted today in the beginning, I mentioned that there won't be any sound in this, but in case you haven't seen it, I should point it out. There's not going to be sound in it. The only way I could add sound, really, because I can't voice act, I don't have access to sound effects, really. So really the thing I could do would be to add the music she's listening to when she's listening to it. I just feel like it would be kind of distracting as these songs would probably have words in them. So it would be kind of distracting, which is the reason I wouldn't. But if you want me to, you can tell me in the comments and I can try to fit it in. And I believe that is what I have. I can't quite think of anything else. So I really hope that you're going to enjoy this story because I really want to bring more stories into my channel. That's part of the reason I wanted to make my channel, was to tell stories because I just have so many in my head and I want to share them. And I used to just write books, but I'm not sure if that's the best way for me to do it. So with the channel, I get to kind of experiment and see which way is the best way for me to tell my stories. And currently, I'm trying animating. And I'm so excited for this story, Shadows and Mirrors. I'm so excited. I have been wanting to start working on it for like the past week, but I've been working on the behind the scenes, so I haven't exactly gotten to do it yet, but I'm so excited. Sorry, I gotta calm down my voice. I'm so excited to do it, and I really hope you guys like it because I'm going to be putting my heart and soul into this. And I love making stories. I love telling them, and I just want to make you guys happy because that's truly the other reason I made my channel, was to make people happy. I want to make people happy. I want to cheer up people's Mondays because everyone seems to hate them. So I want to give you a reason to look forward to them instead of just always being like, oh, it's Monday tomorrow. So then if you're like, oh, it's Monday tomorrow, you can be like, oh, Meepa Mondays, it's still tomorrow though. So at least you have something good on the list. I'm sorry, that got a little heartfelt and I didn't mean for it to. But that is why I have the channel, and I really want to tell my stories, and I hope that you like it because I'm so excited to make it and I want to keep doing it. Anyway, that is about all I have, so I'll put a little bit of music here to last till the end of the speed paint, where you will get to see the final product of this picture. I can't guarantee that these will be the official colors in the animation of her room, as I haven't gotten to plan her room yet. But the colors of her outfit and hair and so on is pretty much guaranteed because I have it planned as I showed you on the paper copy. Anyway, here's the music. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope that you will enjoy Shadows and Mirrors when it comes out.